There is a place that is spoken about only in whispers, a dark area that spawns the beginnings of urban legends, a place where anything can happen and usually does. During the light of day, it hides just outside of view, but when the sun goes down, spirits, creatures of the night, roam free, and things do go bump in the night. It is in every state and every country, and there is no escaping it, no matter how safe you feel behind your locked doors and latched windows. So we invite you to turn down the lights and turn up your radio while we join Dave Schrader and Tim Dennis, your hosts, on a journey into the darkness on the edge of town.
Hello and welcome. You're tuned in to the best in paranormal talk radio. This is Darkness Radio. I'm your host, Dave Schrader. That guy over there is Tim Dennis, sitting at the Supernatural News Desk. And Tim, we have to start today's show with a bit of a heavy heart. Although not necessarily an unexpected turn of events, but it is still sad nonetheless. Obviously, we've spoken now for many years regarding our version of the Mandela effect, which we referred to as who brought Kirk Douglas back from the dead.
Yep.
For those of you that are new tuners and have just found us, we talked about this probably 8 or 9 years ago. We discussed these strange memories, and I had a very clear memory in the late 80s, I believe it was, shortly after Kirk Douglas suffered his debilitating stroke. It was not long after that he passed away. And I remember the little press conference on Entertainment Tonight. I down to what Michael Douglas was wearing as he talked about his father. I remember it specifically. And all of a sudden, people started pouring in with messages. They remembered the same scenario. This was before the term Mandela effect had even been coined. That's why we called that episode, Who Brought Kirk Douglas Back from the Dead? And yet Kirk Douglas just turned 103 years old. So it was something that has baffled many of us. How do we have such a perfect memory of his passing 35 years ago, but yet he's still very much alive? Well, unfortunately, a few days ago, Mr. Douglas finally succumbed and passed away at 103 years old. And, this year in our 2020 predictions, I predicted this would be the year for Kirk Douglas's passing. And unfortunately, I was correct. But I want you to know that in all the years of us joking around and talking about Kirk Douglas's first death, which apparently never happened, we never meant any disrespect to Mr. Douglas, his career, or his family. It was simply something that we reported on, this false memory or Mandela effect memory that had taken place for many of us. And you have all turned out, man. Geez, Tim, I think I've been tagged in about 1,000 posts and people have sent me links on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and personal emails and direct messages. And, the Kirk Douglas really passed. And the funny question is they all reach out to me and they're like, is this true? Like I've become the definitive answer on the death and life of Kirk Douglas, or the life and death of Kirk Douglas. Yes, it is true. He has passed away. Let's see what the Etch-a-Sketch of life shows us. And, 5 years from now, is he back at, celebrating birthday 108? If so, then we've probably crossed some threshold into another reality, or at least some of us have. And that's been my thought. And I still stand by that, Tim, that kind of escalator version of how life works. That it's like a step ladder, that we're the Bible tells us we're guaranteed this super long life, but yet people die all the time. And the one thing that I have noticed in talking to people over these last 8-9 years regarding the Mandela effect is many of them had close scrapes with death or near-death experiences. And I've wondered if in those instances when you should have died, When you collapsed in our dining room in college, Tim, and suffered that massive seizure, in that reality, did we lose you and your consciousness just took a step to the right and became part of this world? So in that parallel universe, we lost Tim Dennis? And that's why you have memories that don't necessarily match up. The time that I went through smashed my head through a windshield and should have been killed, did that jump me to another timeline? Because in that reality, my life did end, but it continues on here. My consciousness blends over into the next, so that with every death, we become a more well-rounded person. Our consciousness becomes more cohesive, and we keep making these virtual steps, but with it we take these small echoes of the past, the life that we knew in that other reality.
Well, if I may fire up the spliff and pass it to the left for a second. While I was, you may think this is kind of weird, but actually it was now over 2 years ago when I was in the hospital with sepsis, and I came within 60 seconds of actually checking out. It's hit me the last couple of years that I've had moments when I've sat here and thought, I don't know that I should really be here right now. I feel like I'm living, or I have been living on borrowed time. And I had one of those moments actually when I was in Florida. I stayed behind for a week to visit family in Tampa. And I was out on the deck, and it was after we had recorded True Crime Tuesday. And I was out on the deck, and I was just kind of looking out on the canal, out in back of the house where I was staying. And I was watching this crane swoop down, and it was picking up fish. And I had one of these moments, and the only way you can describe it is a moment where you feel like you don't belong. And it's a moment where you sit there and you go, I really shouldn't be here right now. Mm-hmm. Not like I shouldn't be here, like I should be back home in Minnesota taking care of business, or I shouldn't be here right now, like I have better things to do or anything like that. It was one of those moments like, I really shouldn't be here right now. Like you just, have you ever had one of those moments? Like yeah. You're sitting there going, I really shouldn't be here right now. Mm-hmm. I just like you almost feel like the sands of time already emptied out of your hourglass. And you really are living on borrowed time. Like you probably should have already checked out, but you really are living on borrowed time. And I've had that moment. I don't know. I'd say probably 6 or 7 times since that moment a couple of years ago. It's weird to explain, but it's just a gut feeling. You get that gut feeling, and it's not a sad feeling by any means. It's just like and it's not a fortunate feeling. It's just a feeling where you go, wow, this feels weird. It feels like you're almost, like you said, like out of time.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of it. I mean, is it, yeah, and to answer your question, yes, I have had times where I feel like I don't belong to this world, which is really weird. And I know that says something when you're the host of this show, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that when something feels weird, how do you wrap your head around it? Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird scenario. The whole kind of concept of parallel universes and lives continuing on, but just, the consciousness joins another part of that realm. So you may be kind of feeling that almost like a mourning for the life that you had.
I don't know that it's mourning. I know this much. I've lost a lot of fear. I don't fear as much as I used to.
Right. Well, mourning is, I'm just trying to use that as an overall, statement, as though, I mean, you're not feeling like you feel like your time has already ended, meaning you're kind of still still have a little bit of that residue from that past life onto this one. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. It's bizarre.
I don't know. You know what it feels like almost. I'll give you exactly what it feels like. Mm-hmm. It feels like wherever this life was supposed to go, it's like that path cut and it's done. And whatever it was that happened in that moment stopped wherever I was supposed to go. And the slate has been wiped clean.
Mm-hmm.
And wherever I go from here on out now, is a combination of me driving my destiny. And it's a combination of that. I sound like I'm drunk. Me to destiny. And a combination of that where the universe will take me and divine intervention. So you have those three that combo platter, if you will, that will take over and drive me from here on out. But whatever might have been predetermined at the time of my birth no longer exists because of factors that happened that changed my path. Yeah, I don't know why that pops up in my head, but it does. It's just because of that moment where maybe that's where I was supposed to cash out and I didn't. It's changed everything completely.
Could be. I don't know. Somebody's driving the ship now. Why not it be you, right?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Let's talk about some other things since we're talking about life and death and the eternal reincarnation, Tim.
Oh, yeah.
This show is and has made changes over the 14 years that we've been on the air. Mm-hmm. Beginning at KLBB 14 years ago, moving for a very brief time to a internet live stream only, then being picked up for Saturdays and Sundays on KTLK in Minneapolis, then going from Saturdays and Sundays to Monday through Fridays, 11 to midnight, then moving till 10 to midnight, then moving from the FM dial to the AM dial and joining 9 to midnight, to jumping to the Jericho Network on Podcast One, to this new iteration. This is a very brief stint that you'll be visiting us for as we are relaunching Darkness Radio. As you've noticed, I started today's show Darkness Radio, not Beyond the Darkness, as we are no longer part of the Jericho Network officially or part of Podcast One. We have elected to join a new program, a new streaming service that's much wider and vaster and gives you many more ways to find our show. For the month of February, though, all of these episodes will appear here on YouTube. And we're going to continue to add other content to YouTube, other exclusive content. But starting in March, we are rolling over to our new home with Midroll. And Tim, just give them an idea. I mean, how many different ways through Midroll will they be able to find and listen to our show?
Oh, my gosh. Not only do you get, you used to get it just simply through iTunes and through the Podcast One app. But now you've got iTunes, you've got you've got Stitcher, you've got Roku, you've got anywhere you grab your podcast, you can grab it through this. I believe it's the Omni system. Is that what it is? I'm trying to remember the name of the system.
Yeah.
But it's the major system that most major podcast companies are using. Mm-hmm. And Midroll is and not a lot of people know the name Midroll per se, but there are podcasts such as Mark Maron or The Last Podcast on the Left or Welcome to Midvale. You know those names. Those names tour throughout the United States. They do live shows. They do their podcasts. And those are some of our contemporaries that we'll be working with over at the new company. So.
Right. So it's exciting times.
Yeah.
We elected to do that because Podcast One, although they've been a very gracious host for the last few years, we really felt that they weren't in it to help us grow the program and show us the respect that we've brought to them over the years. So we elected to leave on a positive note and move over to a new service, which we believe will have a much bigger impact and a much wider scope of sharing our show and getting our word out there. And we just want to thank all of you that will continue this journey along with us. We have not left you. We have not given up. We are still here. We will continue to broadcast, but for the episodes in the month of February, you'll be able to find them here on our YouTube channel. So please like this and subscribe so that you're always alerted when a brand new episode or new content is put up on the site. And we do have other cool content that we're going to be adding up, personal stories and the like. Not only from Tim and I, but from our listeners. We'll also put up some of our favorite old Theater of the Minds. So we've got a lot of cool stuff that we're going to be sharing, and we hope that you will subscribe here and like this post, share it, pass it around, let everybody know about the program. We'd appreciate that as well. But that's where we will be, and then March we'll be starting on Podcast 1. Just a reminder, just keep checking darknessradio.com for updates. darknessradio.com for updates on everything. And here's the good news. If you already have the Darkness Radio app through Google or through the iTunes App Store, stick with it because that is still going to work for you. We're going to update all the streams as soon as they're ready, and you will be able to access the show that way. As a matter of fact, I believe, let me pull it up while we talk, Timothy.
Sure.
Excuse me while I whip this out. I'm looking at my phone pulling up the Darkness Radio app because I believe that right on the app there is, I think it's under media, I believe. If you click on the media button, nope, maybe not. I have to look through here. I believe somewhere in this mess is our link to our YouTube page as well.
Oh, yeah.
So you can actually find these episodes there. I thought it was through media. We'll have to double check on that. But there will be ways to continue to listen. And then starting March 1st, without missing a beat, we'll continue with new programs, new guests, new topics, fun stuff. And we appreciate this. So please let us know that you're hearing this, that you're finding this out, and you can comment on today's program, or you can email me, dave@darknessradio.com. Connect with us through our social media pages, whatever works best for you. We just want to hear from you and know that you're getting this message and know that we're not going anywhere. We're just changing the way we're going to deliver the show and make it easier and more accessible to a larger, wider crew. All right. That being said, let's get started. It's a supernatural news and Parashare day. Tim, where shall we begin in the world of supernatural news?
First of all, I see what you're trying to do here. I'm looking at the stories here. I see what you're trying to do here. I'm going to hold off on this first story for a little bit. I see you're trying to wind me up here. You're trying to wind me up, but I'm going to start slow, Dave. I'm going to start slow and ease my way into it. It's a new year, Dave. A new decade. I'm gonna ease my way into that story, if you don't mind. We'll talk about British X-Files first. How's that?
Whatever you feel is best.
Sure,
I mean, you're the supernatural news guy.
Yeah. A few people were concerned.
I got it in your head. I can already hear it.
A few people were concerned about my mental health a couple weeks ago. The fact that I was deluged by artificial intelligence stories. It didn't affect me in the slightest. Let's just say it was a little overwhelming, but I'm good. We'll start with British X-Files, Dave's UFO sightings going public. The UK's Ministry of Defence will publish secret UFO reports for the first time, evidently. From the early 1950s until 2009, a department in the UK's Ministry of Defence documented and investigated reports of UFOs. Now, more than a decade after the program ended, many of those formerly classified files about UFO sightings will be made available to the public for the first time. Previously, some MOD files about UFOs had been published online at the UK National Archives website. However, all of the agency's UFO reports will be released this year on a dedicated government or gov.uk website. A spokesperson for the British Royal Air Force told The Telegraph. The decision came after PA Media, a British news agency, filed a request for the UFO files under the Freedom of Information Act, according to The Telegraph. MOD officials decided it would be better to publish these records rather than continue sending documents to the National Archives. This according to an RAF spokesperson. The UK's fascination with UFOs spiked around 1950, prompting the MOD to form the Flying Saucer Working Party to address the phenomenon. you can feel free to jump in there if you want.
No, I'm working on restraint.
Okay, that's good.
Mm-hmm. Working on restraint. Do. I'm working on restraint, Tim.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yet you still did it.
Stop it.
Mm-hmm. UFOs in the early 1950s even captured the attention of Prime Minister Winston Churchill, who makes a hell of a cigar. I don't know if you've ever tried it before, Dave, who sent a memo to his air minister in 1952 asking, what does all this stuff about flying saucers amount to? What can it mean? What is the truth? The Flying Saucer Group concluded that UFOs were hoaxes, delusions, or ordinary objects that were misidentified, recommending that no further investigation of reported mysterious aerial phenomena.
Mm-hmm. Is this payback for AI? Is that what it is?
No. Phenomena. Mm-hmm. Be undertaken. Nevertheless, other MOD divisions continued the work of official UFO investigation in the UK, ushering such efforts into the 21st century. The last UFO report to be published online by the MOD dates to 2009, covering sightings that took place from January through the end of November of that year. These included a silver disc-shaped light reported in January of 2009, up to 20 orange and red glowing lights reported in June, a large bright silver-white ball or sphere reported in July, and 3 blazing gold orbs in a diagonal line in the sky reported in September. After MOD enacted a policy change on December 1st of 2009, the agency no longer recorded or investigated UFO sightings, according to the report. But what they did find, including many recent UFO reports that were previously available only as hard copies, will be published online within the next few months. That, according to Nick Pope, a former UFO investigator for the MOD.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of exciting. I wonder what new information we're really going to get.
That aliens party with the Queen and have tea every day at 4:30.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the main information.
That's special.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought so.
All right. Well, that's the beginnings of this. What else have we got to investigate in the world of supernatural news this week?
Well, Dave, I'm surprised we didn't see this when we were aboard the ship of Jericho. I looked over the starboard side many a time and didn't see this thing floating out there. But a ship that mysteriously vanished in the Bermuda Triangle almost a century ago was discovered, and it wasn't by us. Yeah, I'd have thought I'd have saw the thing. We did see something floating out in the ocean.
Yeah, that was a little that was a little heart racy, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, but it was like a rafty thing.
Yeah. I was. Somebody told me what it looked like was a part of a dock had broken away and floated off. But when we first saw it, you're on this cruise ship, and all of a sudden you see this raft. I'm just thinking somebody's trying to make their way to America, and it didn't go so well.
I thought I saw the remains of Otis Redding.
Was he sitting on the dock of that bay?
He was, yeah.
Watching the tide roll him away?
Yeah, it's a dated reference, but a good one.
Yeah.
The wreckage of a ship that mysteriously went missing in the Bermuda Triangle almost 100 years ago has been discovered off the coast of Florida, this according to a team of researchers. The SS Cotopaxi, an American merchant steamer, left Charleston, South Carolina on November 29th, 1925, loaded with coal. But the vessel vanished without a trace before arriving at its final destination, Havana, Cuba. The fate of the Cotopaxi and the 32 people on board has long puzzled experts, and the ship's disappearance has become one of the most famous stories associated with the legend of the Triangle, a notorious region of the western North Atlantic Ocean where several ships and aircraft have said to gone missing in strange circumstances. The Cotopaxi was on a routine voyage, marine biologist and underwater explorer Michael Barnett told Newsweek. She was employed in the coal trade, and so this was just another trip at the end of November in 1925. We know that on that voyage something happened because she delivered a Mayday message in early December saying she's in distress. And then that was it. They never found any wreckage. They never found any lifeboats, bodies, or anything. The vessel just disappeared after that point. So we've been trying to determine what exactly happened. The story of the disappearance of the Cotopaxi has had a colorful past. Film director Steven Spielberg included the vessel in his sci-fi classic Close Encounters of the Third Kind, in which it was discovered in the Gobi Desert, having apparently been placed there by extraterrestrials. In 2015, a news report said the ship had reappeared near a restricted military zone off the coast of Cuba. Various versions of this story emerged in the years that followed. All of them had been dismissed as hoaxes, however. Now, almost after a century of uncertainty and speculation, a more realistic explanation has emerged. Barnett and colleagues say they have located the wreck around 35 miles off the coast of St. Augustine on Florida's northeast coast. The discovery is revealed in an episode of Shipwreck Secrets, a new Science Channel series that starts next month. I've always been fascinated by history, Barnett, who has discovered the wrecks of numerous lost ships over the course of his career, went on to say, I'm a marine biologist by profession, but maritime history is my real passion. I like going out and trying to identify wrecks because everyone has a fascinating story. I'm just a very curious guy, he went on to say. The search for the wreck began thousands of miles away from the Bermuda Triangle in London, England. Barnett contacted British historian Guy Walters and asked him to dig through the archives of Lloyd's of London, which contains insurance documents related to the ship's fateful voyage. During his search, Walters managed to uncover evidence that the Cotopaxi had sent out a distress signal on December 1st of 1925, a key piece of information that historians had not previously known about. A lot of times it's more important to spend more time in the archives researching than it is on the water, because that's when you will make the discoveries in all these articles for insurance or things of that nature, he went on to tell Newsweek. According to the documents that he uncovered, the distress signals were picked up in Jacksonville, Florida, placing the ship in the vicinity of the so-called Bear Wreck, located off the coast of St. Augustine, which has baffled experts for decades. The waters off the coast of St. Augustine, a thriving port in colonial times, are filled with 16th and 17th century shipwrecks. The Bear Wreck, however, stands out from these in a number of ways. Firstly, it appears to be from the late 19th or early 20th century and is located much further off the coast than most of the other older shipwrecks. The ship's real name and the reason it sank have long remained a mystery. With the evidence uncovered by Walters, Barnett and his dive partner, Joe Satelli, decided to conduct a series of dives at the Bear Wreck in order to look for an artifact that could link it to the Cotopaxi. Specifically, they wanted to find an object with the vessel's name on it, something commonly found in the bell of ships. However, such discoveries are rare, and despite the use of a remotely operated underwater vehicle, the divers did not find what they were looking for, in part because the wreck is covered in large quantities of sand. Barnett did get in touch with A.J. Perkins, a diver who has been exploring the Bear Wreck for more than 3 decades, collecting numerous objects from it in the process. One of those items in his collection seemed to provide a clue to the wreck's origins. From there, they collected more evidence and eventually got to the bottom of the case. Their research and findings can be seen in the premiere episode, Dave, of the new Science Channel series Shipwreck Secrets. It premieres February 9th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Subsequent episodes will premiere on Sunday nights at 9 p.m. So there you go.
Very cool. Yeah, the Bermuda Triangle, floating through it now for 2 years. 3, actually, I did 3 cruises now through that. I haven't felt any danger until this last time.
Yeah,
I
it was
videotaped some of the waves. It was
a rough cruise. Yeah.
Yeah. When you're on a big ship and you can actually feel the rock, it wasn't bad, folks. I mean, they would do their best to circumvent and go around the storms, which they did repeatedly. But, you could just see going through there how, boy, would your mind go into a spin as you're going through the Bermuda Triangle in a bad storm, as giving the boat a good rocking. I actually liked it when it was rocking at night, because I slept like a baby.
Yeah.
But, that was creepy and unusual. Speaking of creepy and unusual, Tim, I'd like to hear some stories from our listener.
Sure.
How do you do that? Well, our listener, just the one.
Just the one.
Yeah. From our listeners, you can call our Voices from Beyond voicemail, 651-300-4977, 651-300-4977. And leave us one of your stories of the strange and unusual, just like this caller did.
Hi, Dave and Tim. This is Lucy from Alabama. I've actually been to Minnesota. My uncle, who lived in Bloomington, died a couple of years ago, and I went up for his funeral, and man, the snow up there is really heavy. It was really cold. Anyway, I don't know how you guys can handle it up there. This Alabama girl was really cold up there. But I wanted to give you my paranormal stories. I've got a couple of them. I've had animals my whole life, and this has been some years, but I had a cat named Domino. Had him for 15 years, but he was about 17 when I lost him. He had been in kidney failure for a while, and the vet thinks that he might have had a heart attack. He died at the vet clinic. After I lost him, I was really upset, and I had a roommate who was actually not working the next day, and I had cried so much the day before that I actually couldn't even go into work. My eyes were almost swollen shut. I was so upset. And she drove me to the nearest Humane Society. We went there, and I found two Siamese kitten mixes, and they were brothers. I named them Joshua and Caleb. I just fell in love with them and adopted them, and brought them home. And they were just little wild children, and ran all over the place, jumping on the bed all the time. And I would find myself waking up in the mornings and feeling a cat jump on the bed. And I thought it was one of them. I would sit up, and I was awake when this would happen. I would sit up, and there was no cat on my bed. I just knew it had to have been Domino. And I still miss Domino, but having Joshua and Caleb really seemed to help make it better. At least I felt like I was helping another animal, rescuing another, getting one safe in a home. Well, some years went by, and I lost Joshua, and I lost him in Thanksgiving of last year. I'm still missing him. He was about 17 and a half years old. I'm still hoping that he will come and visit me, as his brother Caleb did. I lost Caleb when he was only 7. He had a urinary obstruction, and about 3 weeks later, he was on the food that the vet had put him on. Caleb had a urinary obstruction, and he was on the cat food that he was supposed to be on to keep him from getting another one. He was running in front of my roommate. I was actually not at work. I was still at work at the time, sorry. And she was feeding my cats. He was running in front of her, and he collapsed. And she rushed him to my vet. And he was already gone by the time he got there. The vet was stymied. He did not know what had happened to him. He couldn't understand why he died. I pretty much got hysterical when I found out. My roommate called me, and I was actually driving on my way home by then. And I was very upset. Because I only had him for 7 years. He was still fairly young. I just became really upset, asking God constantly to let me know he was okay, because I had never lost a cat at such a young age. About 3 weeks after he died, I was in bed asleep, and I woke up to his meow. Caleb, like I said, was a Siamese mix, and he had a hoarse meow that made him sound like he was asking a question, because the pitch of his meow would go up at the end of it. And I heard that meow. I sat up in bed, and over to my right was a glowing light about the size of a basketball. And as I looked at it, I could tell it was Caleb, because his stripes were really pronounced. He was a lilac point Siamese mix, and he was very striped. And the light was glowing through each of those stripes. I'd never seen anything like this before. I reached out to touch him, and the light just fizzled away. I believe that God allowed him to visit me to let me know that he was okay. I still hope that Joshua will be able to visit me too, either the same way that Caleb did or in a dream. I just wanted to tell you guys Caleb's story, because I believe that animals do go to heaven, and I believe that when I get to heaven one day, then that I will see my animals, all of my animals I've lost before. I have another paranormal story, and this one is actually from my mother. We lost my oldest brother in 1983. He was hit by a drunk driver when he was on his way home from work. He was only 29 years old. I was still living at home with my parents, and we learned about it at 2:30 in the morning. My brother David was his roommate. Martin was on his way home from work and accidentally killed by a drunk driver, and the police woke my brother up and told him they needed him to come to the police station. They handed him Martin's wallet and asked him to identify it. And that's when they told him that he had been killed. We were pretty much desolate after that. None of us could sleep. And my mother told me later what happened. She was standing in the kitchen looking outside. There was a pasture across the road with cows in it. There were power lines across, outside that fence line that ran adjacent to the highway. And she was looking out across at the pasture, and as the sun was rising, the whole scene started to change. She said that all of a sudden flowers started to appear, and it was just like lit up, like just totally different, a totally different scene than what she was really looking at before. And the power lines that were there disappeared. They just faded away. And she felt a peace after that. She felt like that's where Martin was, that he was in heaven. And I think that God was telling her that he was in a place that was like this. It was beautiful. He was in no pain, and that he was happy. And that was my mother's paranormal story.
All right, here's an actual email, Tim. I don't know if you know this, but people can email me as well with their stories.
Really?
So you can call us on the Voices from Beyond voicemail at 651-300-4977, like that caller, or email them to me. Hi, Tim and Dave.
Hi.
I'm emailing you from the UK. This is about my daughter, who is now 31 years old. When she was about 2 or 3 years old, we hadn't been in this house very long, so the rooms needed decorating. Her room had this 70s styles wallpaper on the wall. She woke up in the middle of the night one night crying and pointing at her wall, saying, "There is a man in the wall. There's a man in the wall." I put it down to her dreaming. Eventually, I managed to settle her down, and she went off to sleep. 6 months went by, and it was time to redecorate her room. My husband and I were stripping off wallpaper in the room, and to our amazement, there was this hand-painted face of a man right where she had been pointing. I just looked at my husband and said, "How on earth did she know?" This was the start of many strange experiences that we have had as a family. Thank you for all your hard work. I love your show. Keep it up. And that comes from Pat. Pat, you're just gonna tease us? You're gonna give us the tip only? Mm-hmm. We need the whole story.
Yeah.
So if that's just the beginning, what else has happened? Write to me, Pat. We need more of your stories. If your daughter pointing at the wall, seeing a man there in the wall, and you pull off the wallpaper, and there is, in fact, a man painted on that wall, and that was just the start, I can't wait to hear the other bizarre things you have to share with us. So please, shoot us an email, fill us in with more of your stories. Tim, where are we going next in the world of supernatural news?
We're going to Hollywood, Dave, where evidently stars are being possessed by the devil.
The devil, you say?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Juliana Hough evidently broke the internet this week with an exorcism-like video.
I'd like to possess her myself.
Well, too late, my friend. Evidently the devil got her first.
Okay, what?
Yeah.
I'll fight for her honor.
You may have to.
Take out my plus 12 broadsword, Tim.
Oh, broadsword.
My plus 12 broadsword.
Broadsword, yes.
And I will defend her honor with the devil himself.
I see.
Yeah.
People are saying the video is disturbing to watch. I don't know. If you watch it a certain way, it's not so disturbing. As I am. By now, we're all accustomed to the eccentric wellness trends of the Hollywood elite, from Gwyneth Paltrow's bee sting therapy. That's not the only disturbing thing if you've seen her Goop catalog. To Sandra Bullock's, I'm going to say this carefully, Dave. Sandra Bullock's penis facials.
What?
That's a thing, evidently.
What?
Yeah, Sandra Bullock's penis. I can't even say it. Sandra Bullock's penis facials.
Huh.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Okay.
Yeah. And Shailene Woodley's vaginal sunbathing routine. God, I need to move. Minnesota's so boring.
Oh.
We've become unfazed by the extreme measures that A-listers go to for their beauty and health fixes. And until this week, we thought we'd seen it all. However, a new video of Julianne Hough receiving an energy treatment in Davos, Switzerland, this week has proved us wrong. This is an energy treatment, Dave.
Uh-huh. An energy treatment.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Dr. Amaral demonstrated his treatment on the Dancing with the Stars pro, who could be seen contorting and yelping in a video captured by onlookers. Oh, boy. There's always a huge dissipation of energy and the feeling of relief, release, freedom, Amaral told the crowd. Expression of emotion may happen when the system moves, if you know what I mean. He continued as Hough twitches in the background. You're going to want to see this for yourself, Dave.
Oh, I'm watching it right now.
Yeah.
Stunned adoration.
Hands on the table, Dave. Hands above.
Pardon me? What?
Hands above the waist. When
they
watching.
are. I have an itch on my thigh.
Okay. When energy was stored and bound up in the muscles, it gets to dissipate. And if we're really free to express and allow energy that's been bound in our bodies to move through, this woman is like an incredible dancer, actress, just human being. And she has practiced just allowing things to move through, is how Dr. Amaral puts it. Hough's writhing response to Amaral's treatment has sent shockwaves through social media, of course, with some users even comparing her body's response to an exorcism. One commentator wrote, "This is demonic. The demon is trapped in her little body. In the name of Jesus, I rebuke this woman. Bye. Take it, Jesus." That's very that's almost kind of like you're up on stage, you're playing a little solo, and you're like, "Take it, Jesus." I don't know. I've never had to have Jesus come in and play the last half of a solo for me, but why not?
Well, I got to be honest with you, Tim. I also had to jump and take a look at, and let me warn you, folks, be careful. I took the bullet for you. Typing in Sandra Bullock and penis facial will give you pages you don't want to know about.
Really?
But yeah, here's what it is. According to this article from the HuffPost, it says Hollywood stars love their eccentric facials, and it often seems like they'll put anything on their faces. The latest buzzy ingredient, though, foreskins.
No.
Yes, you read that right. Last week, Sandra Bullock appeared on the Ellen DeGeneres show. This is an article from a few years ago, and revealed that she and Cate Blanchett are fans of what they've dubbed the penis facial.
I see.
The treatment involves the use of something called epidermal growth factors, or EGF for short, which are derived from stem cells taken from discarded foreskins of newborn babies in Korea. EGF is said to help rejuvenate the skin, improve overall skin texture, and correct discoloration. It's also known for its ability to aid in wound healing. The treatment costs $650.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think...
Following the microneedling, you use a special electrifying mask to calm the skin. Then comes the penis aspect, what Louise calls her secret box of EGF serum. The EGF is derived from the cells of a human fibroblast taken from Korean newborn baby foreskin, which helps to generate collagen and elasticin. People are weird, dude. People are weird. That's a thing. That's a real thing.
I can save her a little bit of money. Mine's like a newborn baby. I could just slap it right on her cheek. I'm just saying.
You remember about keeping this family friendly?
I'm just saying.
Let's stick with that model. We want to go that way going forward. Yeah. It's weird enough that the actual story is using Korean baby foreskins.
It is. That's very weird.
Ain't nobody on this planet need the visual you just put into their heads. So let's just, kids, just here, look at me as I put on my sunglasses and raise my Men in Black wand, and I'm going to just help you pulse that thought out of your mind. Are you ready? And anyway, let's get back to the show, Tim.
Okay. There was one Instagram user that watched poor Julianne Hough try to expel energy, saying, "What did I just watch?" This was disturbing to watch.
It is weird. I'm watching it, and it's not even erotic. There's nothing erotic. It just looks like she's spasming out of control as he's kind of waving his hands over her.
Another viewer wrote, "I don't know whether this is absolutely hilarious or absolutely terrifying. My mind is still processing what I just witnessed. This can't be real. She is officially cult status." Huff herself commented on the original video shared with Jackie Schimmel-Haas, saying, "I thought the same thing when I first saw it too." So there you go.
Weird. Yeah, take a look at it, folks. Look at the different things people are willing to do to try to bring their body, soul, and faces back to a form of rejuvenation. It's bizarre. Although I would be happy to witness there with holy water to sprinkle on Juliana Hough should she need it, in case the devil gets a hold of her, Tim. I'm one of those kind of guys. I don't like to brag. I don't like to call myself a hero. But for Juliana Hough, I would do that.
Oh, that's nice of you.
Yeah, well, I'm a giver. Yeah, I'm a giver. All right, where are we off to next?
A 3,000-year-old Egyptian mummy speaks again with some high-tech help. You might need that holy water. Just saying. I don't know. Using a model of a 3,000-year-old mummy's vocal tract, researchers have approximated the voice of a long-dead Egyptian priest. Where is Brendan Fraser when you need him? They were able to create a single burst of sound, a vowel-like bleat between the E in bed and the ah in bad. So he sounded like a goat, I guess. Yeah, kind of like that.
So I got to know more. What they took a mummy. They're trying to make it. Okay, I'm sorry. Just go ahead. I'll shut up and let you fill us in.
All right. The study published Thursday in the journal Scientific Reports is a sort of science that at first seems to beg for the B-movie treatment. The mummy croaks again. But there is more serious motivation involved, as well as more respect for the deceased person wrapped in burial cloth. The study authors said that the priest, named Nasayamun, would be pleased with this post-mortem recreation of his voice. It is a fulfillment of his belief to have his voice heard in the afterlife. And study author John Schofield, an archaeologist at the University of York in England, went on to say Nasayamun worked as a scribe at the Temple of Karnak in Thebes.
Thebes, yeah.
Thebes.
Mm-hmm.
Tomato. His voice would have been critical in his priestly duties as he spoke, chanted, and sang. Nasayamun was mummified and entombed in a coffin inscribed with hieroglyphs, mainly texts from the Book of the Dead. Since 1823, this body has been kept at Leeds City Museum, where his body was unwrapped. Scholars, surgeons, and chemists have examined him in the many years since, probing the mummy by microscope, endoscope, and X-ray. A multidisciplinary scientific investigation of Nasayamun, published in 1828, was the first of its kind in the world, Schofield said. In the new work, scientists have made precise measurements of Nasaimun's well-preserved vocal tract using a CT scanner at Leeds General Infirmary. From this scan, they printed a 3D copy of his throat and hooked it up to a loudspeaker. They fed an electronic signal, a simulation of a human larynx acoustic output, said study authors David Howard, through the faux organ to produce the voice. The single sound represents a proof of concept work, said Howard, who studies human speech and singing at Royal Holloway, a part of the University of London. To produce other vowels would require changes to the shape of the vocal tract, Howard said. That is their next step, with the eventual goal of producing words, singing, and even speech. Vocal tracts are biologically unique, said Daniel Bodney, an aeroacoustics expert at the University of Illinois, who is not part of the research team. The study's authors captured Nasaimun's from his lips back down to the trachea, but the vocal tract is only half of what makes the human being sound like the human being, Bodney said. The other half flutters at the base of the tract. The vocal folds, also known as cords or reeds, human vocal folds vibrate at multiple frequencies, yielding richness and emotion, and the sound the vibration produces is further distorted by traveling through the tract. An electronic substitute for fleshy vibration is why this recreation sounds tinny, Bodney went on to say. Bart de Boer, who studies the evolution of speech at a university in Brussels, said that, I do think the sound is an accurate recreation of a sound that Nasaimun would have or could have made. Simple fixed utterances of ah-like sounds do not require the movement of tongues or teeth. But de Boer said, we also do not really know whether this vowel noise was a sound that was actually used in his language. The study authors...
This is a weird study.
It is a very weird study.
We spend a lot of dumb money doing dumb things. I wonder what it would sound like if we forced sound through the vocal cords of a mummy. We'll be able to hear his voice for the first time in centuries. Who cares? Who cares what a sounds like from a 1,000-year-old mummy? Who cares?
Well, in that way,
you can get it just from Larry King interviews currently.
Well, that way you know if he's reanimated or not, Dave.
Yeah, I don't know.
The study authors anticipate that this recreation and future expansions of Nasaimun's voice will be a hit with Leeds' audience of museum goers. Oh, so they're going to make a puppet out of him. See, we're getting to the point right now. When visitors...
I got no strings to hold me down, to make me laugh or make me frown. So they're turning him into King Pinocchio Common.
Yeah. When visitors encounter the past, it is usually a visual encounter. With this voice, we can change that, Schofield said. There's nothing more personal than someone's voice. Oh, so they're making him a puppet. The dimensions of Nasaimun's tract, smaller than a modern adult man's, suggest he might have been a tenor. Oh, so they're going to make him sing. See, if so, the priest would have been a welcome addition to singers, Howard directs. We need them in my choir, Howard said, meaning tenors, not mummies. So he's going to be a singing puppet. They're going to basically put him in a Disney deal, like when they recreate the presidents in the Hall of Presidents. They're going to have the Hall of Singing Mummies. See how they do that?
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So is it like they're going to put them together like little barbershop quartet?
Yeah.
See the four tenors, the four mummies, and you just you get to hear. I don't know what are they going to do? I hope they do like Iron Maiden songs.
Yes.
Or Judas Priest, but as operatic versions. Is that wrong?
Yeah, breaking the law. Yeah, in an operatic setting.
Yeah.
And they could play. They could play like ancient instruments. And they'll release an album. It'll be a hit. They'll win Grammys. It'll be like Blue Man Group, but creepier.
Yeah. Bandage Man Group is more like it.
Yeah. It'll be great. It'll be awesome.
Seriously, do we need this kind of? I mean, if you think about it, do we really need to know? I don't think we do. I think we waste a lot of stupid money researching a lot of stupid things. What are we going to gain from hearing what their voice may have sounded like? Oh, it's cool though. Now you get to hear a voice, but it's not really even the voice. It's just a forced sound. I'm sure if you pumped some air in there and then pushed on his belly, his butt will sing for you too. I don't need to hear what the great Pharaoh sounded like when he passed wind.
Dave, Farting Mummies, the comedy album. Come on! You just came up with a great idea.
Farting Mummies comedy album. I don't know, man.
Ancient farts. That would be such a great museum piece. I would go back to a museum. Farting mummies.
Yeah.
We would see if they truly could fart dust. You, my friend, are on the cutting edge of science.
I like to think so. I'm glad that you're finally catching up to that.
Yeah.
Huh. So is that the basics of that story?
Well, yeah.
Okay. All right. Hey, Dave, just watched your episode on haunted hospitals. Oh, with the incredibly athletic and black version of Tim. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I'll have you know I got an NBA contract off of that deal.
You should have. Mm-hmm. I also experienced a haunting in a hospital, but luckily I had my digital recorder with me. I was able to record my contact with the spirits. 2 of these EVPs recorded in 2009 when I was in a hospital for prostate cancer surgery. Sorry, I had to swallow between words. The 3rd was recorded as I was getting tested in the hospital. These are not my only hospital clips that I have. What I would do is record in the late evening after visiting hours. I would ask my door be shut. Then I'd place the recorder on my chest and ask if anyone wanted to communicate with me. In the first clip I got, we just need his help. They say I'm dead. In the second clip he recorded, hi, Neil, our friend, get her out of here. F with you. Only it said the full word, Tim, the full F. Effenheimer.
Farnsworth?
Yes. Farnsworth with you. The 3rd clip was recorded about 5 years ago. As I was being sedated for a test, I felt a lost spirit in the room with me. I asked why he was lingering in the hospital. The spirit answered in a surprised, in a hospital? As if he wasn't aware of his location. Huh. I've heard from others that the reason I get no response is that people think I fake my clips. I do not. The clips I've posted to YouTube are a very small sampling of my collection in the last 15 years. I've been retired. I have recorded thousands of clips. I hope you get a chance to listen to some of my work. I think you might appreciate it. And that comes from Neil Kiernan, a.k.a. EVP Kiernan, Tim. Probably his YouTube page, EVP Kiernan.
Clever.
Can't be certain. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. You're trying to get the voice of mummies?
Yeah.
This guy's just getting dead people swearing at him in the hospital.
I like it. Now, if you can get him to fart, that would be even better.
Yeah. I don't know if that'd be such a great addition to this. All right. Where are we off to next?
There's an article out there on the History Channel asking if Hangar 18, the legendary alien warehouse, actually exists.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder if they've got any extra storage for all of my comic book boxes and superhero toys, because it's taken up a whole damn attic, Tim.
Well, here's the deal. Aliens might actually break open the boxes with your toys in them.
That's fine. If it's aliens, they need something to play with. They're bored, Tim. They're off planet. They're looking for something exciting. They can play with my rare German Spider-Man, der Spider-Man toys that I have.
Dave, the value goes down if they break open the box.
Really? Does it go down when aliens have played with your toys, Tim? I think that might actually increase the value.
No. No.
All right. No, it's worth a try. So, Hangar 18, what now?
Aliens are dirty, Dave. As home to Project Blue Book, ground zero for government investigation of UFOs from 1951 to 69, Wright Field, now Wright-Patterson Air Force Base outside Dayton, Ohio, ranks up there alongside Area 51 as a subject of enduring speculation. I said speculation. Many of the rumors surrounding Wright-Pat, as it's known for short, involve what might have gone on inside a particular building known as Hangar 18. UFO enthusiasts believe the government hid physical evidence from their investigations, including flying saucer debris, extraterrestrial remains, and even captured aliens in this mysterious warehouse, specifically inside a sealed, highly guarded location dubbed the Blue Room. The legend of Hangar 18 goes back to the supposed crash of a UFO in the desert near Roswell, New Mexico in July of 1947, according to a press release issued by the Roswell Army Airfield at the time. Their personnel inspected the flying disc and sent it on to higher headquarters. A subsequent press release from an Air Force base in Fort Worth, Texas, assumed to be the aforementioned headquarters, claimed the disc was a weather balloon, a claim that the Air Force acknowledged was untrue in 1994, admitting that it had been testing a surveillance device designed to fly over nuclear research sites in the Soviet Union. But in addition to Fort Worth, many UFO researchers believe some of the material from Roswell were also transported to Wright Field after the crash and stored in Hangar 18 based on unsubstantiated reports from former military pilots. One, Oliver Henderson, reportedly told his wife that he flew a plane loaded with debris along with several small alien bodies from Roswell to Wright Field. According to the children of another pilot, World War II ace Marion Black Mac Magruder, their father claimed to have seen a living alien at Wright Field in 1947 and told them it was a shameful thing that the military destroyed this creature by conducting tests on it. Senator Barry Goldwater of Arizona, the Republican nominee for president in 1964, was notoriously fascinated by UFOs and Hangar 18. Goldwater said publicly that he tried to gain access to the Blue Room in the early 60s, but had been denied access by a furious General Curtis LeMay. Even after Project Blue Book wrapped up in 1969, rumors continued to swirl around Wright Pat. In 1974, a Florida ufologist named Robert Spencer Carr publicly claimed that the Air Force was hiding 2 flying saucers of unknown origin inside Wright-Patterson's Hangar 18. According to a report in the Tampa Tribune, Carr claimed to have a high-ranking military source who saw the bodies of 12 alien beings while autopsies were being performed on them. Though Carr's claims were dubious, widespread media coverage of them, as well as the release of the 1980 movie Hangar 18, helped cement the legend of Wright Pat as a hotbed of the government's UFO-related activities. For its part, the Air Force has categorically denied the rumors and maintains there has never actually been a Hangar 18 anywhere on Wright Pat, though there is a Building 18. Periodically, it is erroneously stated that the remains of extraterrestrial visitors are or have been stored at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. The Air Force said in an official statement issued in January of 1985, there are not now nor have there ever been any extraterrestrial visitors or equipment on Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. And that is the conclusion of that statement from the Air Force.
Yeah. I don't buy it.
You don't buy it?
I don't buy it. I think there definitely has been.
I say we storm Hangar 18. No, I'm not going to start that deal. I'm just saying.
Greetings, Darkness Dave and Twilight Tim. I've been listening to the show for about 4 years. Last week's show on Shadow People was the one I was waiting for. Well, we've done other shows on Shadow People over the last 4 years. Why this one? Why, Tim? Well, stop bothering me. Let me read the letter, Tim, and you'll find out. God.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I lived with a shadow person for about 9 years, from the ages of 6 to 15. I have stories that I will share another time.
No.
Bitch, I don't even want to read anymore. The reason that I'm writing this is because I had a similar experience that the guest had with the crossing of the arms. Mine happened after a dream about climbing out of a pit with countless hands trying to pull me down. I'm not sure, but I think it was hell, he says. I woke up flat on my back with my right arm across my chest with my left to my side. It felt like I was going to be buried. It was hard getting back to sleep. I've had times that I felt like I would die if I went to sleep after that. Thank you, Tim and Dave, for helping me feel like I'm not alone in all my experiences, from precognitive dreams, sleep paralysis, and dream visitations. From a less worried fan, Dante.
Interesting.
Dante thought he was being pulled to hell?
You know, it's interesting because when Mike Ricksecker was talking about it, the experience that he's talking about, that Dante's talking about, that Mike was talking about on the show, Mike was in...
It's a lot of talking about, yes?
It's a lot of talking about. Mike was talking about the shadow person approaching him in his room and coming up to him and crossing his arms like an X, almost like an Egyptian burial ritual, almost like he was being prepared for burial.
Maybe they were going to try to figure out a way to talk through his vocal cords.
Oh, that would have been scary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now that you mention it.
Just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
So that was the story, huh?
Yeah, it was bizarre in that, you know, when we think of shadow people, we tend to line it up with ghosts, aliens. In the context that Mike was talking about it, he was almost talking about it in a time travel, time slip type bridging, you know, that it might have, you know, he might have been bridging the gap between two civilizations, like they were acting like they were preparing a child for burial in ancient Egypt, and he was the child in that time. It was kind of interesting.
All right, very cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's take another call. Our Voices from Beyond voicemail has another person that wants to share their story with us. You can do it. Pick up the phone. Give us a call, 651-300-4977, just like this caller.
Hi, Dave and Tim. I had a story that I wanted to share with you. It's very near and dear to my heart. So when I was about 20, I lost my dad, and I was extremely close to him. So it was, as you can imagine, very painful, especially so for me because I felt like I'd lost my person. My mom and I, you know, obviously loved each other, but we were very similar in personality and often butted heads. So shortly after my dad passed, I graduated from college and got my first real job, and I moved out of state. And I would come home for major holidays and stuff to see my mom and my sister. And on one of those trips home, my mom and I got into a gigantic fight. And I booked a flight home early because I just couldn't stand to be around her anymore. She was just aggravating me so much, and we were just fighting, and it was just not a good thing. Now, when I was younger, when my mom and I would fight, my dad, you know, my mom would send me to my room, and my dad would always come in, and he would talk to me and explain, you know, that my mom and I were so similar, and we had to learn to get along, and it was okay, and he was just kind of my calming voice. So fast forward to this fight, I'm scheduled to leave the next morning, and I was really upset about this fight, and I didn't want to leave on bad terms, but I didn't know what else to do, and my mom just wasn't quite herself still from losing my dad. And it was just a bad situation all over the place. So I had gone down into our basement where my dad had all of his weightlifting stuff. He was a power lifter, and it was a very soothing spot in our house for me because I really just felt like I channeled him there. And I was talking to him down there, and I happened to look up into the rafters of our basement, and I found a box. And in this box was a snow baby. So my dad used to give my mom snow babies for every holiday, birthday, anniversary, whatever, and they each had a special meaning. They're these like little tchotchkes or figurines, and they have a special meaning to each of them. So this snow baby, when I opened it, was a snowman, and he was holding a sign, and it just said, "Where did he go?" And I immediately got emotional. I brought it up to my mom, and nobody said a word. We just cried for over an hour, and it was my dad telling us or reminding us that we just had to get along because he wasn't there to help us talk that through. So I just wanted to share that with you, that our loved ones are always with us. I truly believe that. And best of everything to both you and Tim. Bye.
Welcome back to the program. Remember, this is a temporary place for us. We will be putting up these episodes on YouTube for the month of February. Come the month of March, our show will be returning to the airwaves on mid-roll, and you'll be able to continue to listen to our show. We just passed our 14-year mark with no expectations of slowing down, folks. We're just making the change from one platform to another. Things will be fine. We will add all of these shows from the month of February into the podcast program over at Midroll as well. So if you are listening to this now on Midroll, you've caught up with us. Thank you very much for continuing with the best in paranormal talk radio. I'm Dave. That's Tim. We appreciate you following us and being a part of our world. Please share the show. And remember, it is important, as a matter of fact, imperative, first of all, to rate and review this show on YouTube. But more importantly, if you're listening to this on podcast form on iTunes, please go to iTunes and just rate and review. Anytime you rate and review, that helps us and helps to grow our program and expose us to even more people, and we'd really appreciate that, so thank you. All right, it is a Supernatural News Parashare Saturday. Tim, where are we going next in the world of supernatural news?
Well, Dave, over the years we've talked about the Skinwalker Ranch. It's been featured in books and movies, and now it's finally getting its own TV show.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear it.
The History Channel is taking the leap, and the air date for that nonfiction paranormal TV show has finally been announced. The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, History Channel's latest nonfiction paranormal TV show, promises to provide access to America's most studied paranormal hotspot for the first time. Skinwalker Ranch is located in Utah's, is it Unitah Basin?
Unida, I think it is, or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And stories of strange lights in the sky and encounters with bizarre creatures have been told for decades. Some even claim that the ranch has been a hotbed for paranormal phenomena since the early 19th century. Billionaire Robert Bigelow purchased the ranch in the 90s after learning its spooky reputation and even employed physicists to study its alleged mysteries until 2004. Bigelow's interest didn't stop there, though. A 2017 New York Times article revealed a secretive, now defunct government UFO program run by the Pentagon. According to the article, in 2007, a Defense Intelligence Agency official visited the ranch and a short time later met with Senator Harry Reid of Nevada. According to the New York Times, Mr. Reid said that he met with DIA agency officials shortly after his meeting with Mr. Bigelow and learned that they wanted to start a research program on UFOs. That program, the Advanced Aerospace Weapons System Application Program, was given to Bigelow under government contract. His company received $22 million to study and generate reports on exotic science, UFOs, and other anomalous phenomena. The strange events on the ranch, as well as other locations bearing purported paranormal anomalies, were involved in the study, that according to the New York Times. Bigelow sold the ranch to an American real estate mogul and tech investor in 2016. Recently, Vice gained exclusive access to the ranch and for the first time shed new light on research and technology being used by the ranch team to study the alleged paranormal phenomena that occurred there. According to a press release, The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch will feature never-before-seen footage of the ranch and what it contains as the program follows a team of scientists and experts who conduct research on the expansive 512-acre property. The press release continues utilizing the latest in cutting-edge technology from lasers and ground-penetrating radar to drone thermography, rockets, and more. The team will apply hard science and make shocking discoveries while going further and risking more than anyone has done on the ranch before. The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch premieres on the History Channel on Tuesday, March 31st at 10 p.m. Eastern Time.
That'll be interesting.
Oh, yeah.
That's something I'll definitely be watching for, and we'll try to get somebody on the show to discuss the program and go a little further. How about that?
That sounds good.
Dave, I sent in a story, but I'm not sure you ever got to it, so I wanted to send it back into you. My moniker is Stan from Edmonds. Okay, Stan from Edmonds. This happened many years ago after my brother-in-law passed away in Hawaii. I was visiting my sister during Christmas, and late at night I would hear the little drummer boy playing on something like a music box. So one night I went searching for the source. I found it was a toy teddy bear that my sister had brought for her son about 20 years ago. The next day I put it in the kitchen table and told the family he wants to join the party. After that, he never played that song again. In the evening, I was sitting in the family room. I looked around, and there was a stack of LP records, which my brother-in-law had collected. The album facing me was a collection of Christmas songs featuring the little drummer boy. That comes from Stan from Edmonds. Thank you, Stan from Edmonds. Come, they told me, pa-ra-pum. And sung by the Cowardly Lion, Tim. Very rare album.
It is. That is, yeah.
All right. Where are we off to next?
Well, Dave, I'm going to ask for your help here. because I have never been able to pronounce correctly Obi-Wan Kenobi's first name. Old Danny from Dr. Sleep.
Oh, Ewan?
Yeah, that guy.
Ewan McGregor?
Is it Ewan or is it Ian?
It's Ewan.
Okay.
Not Meehan, it's Ewan.
It's not me and it's Ewan?
Yep, Ewan McGregor.
Okay, good. Because every time I try to say it, it sounds like Ian. But it's Ewan, not Meehan.
It is. It's Ewan.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
Not Ian. Ewan McGregor.
Ewan. All right, good. All right, good. All right. We got it worked out then. Good. Okay. Ewan McGregor told Seth...
Who?
Ewan.
Ewan who?
Ewan Meehan.
Oh, Ewan McGregor. Why didn't you just say so? All right, what's going on with Ewan McGregor?
He told his ghost story recently to Seth Meyers. I don't know if you watched the old Late Night with Seth Meyers.
Oh, you know what? No, I don't. I'm not a fan of Seth Meyers.
I watch him every once in a while. Yes.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Well, he has some good comedy guests on.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So I watch it for the comedy guests. I like the SNL guys. So I watch the SNL guys. Okay. So I caught you and me and McGregor on, and he was talking about his ghost experience, which is actually quite creepy. He had himself a real life ghost story, and if you love a good ghost story and you don't watch Seth Meyers, and you missed out on it like Dave did. The 48-year-old actor appeared on Wednesday's episode of Late Night with Seth Meyers and recalled the paranormal encounter that he had decades ago. It happened on his 20th birthday, the Moulin Rouge star. I don't really remember him from Moulin Rouge. When you think you and me and McGregor, you don't think Moulin Rouge, do you?
No, I think of him as Obi-Wan Kenobi. I think of him in Trainspotting, and now I think of him as the hilarious and twisted Black Mask in Birds of Prey, the emancipation of the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn movie, which I really enjoyed. We'll talk about that in a few minutes, but go ahead.
Sure. He was attending a drama school in London and was staying in student housing while his classmates were away for Easter and Passover. At one point, he decided to watch Blue Velvet and then take a bath. Sounds like a personal preference. Just saying. He said, I was suddenly struck with this pain on my back, he recalled. I ripped off my robe and there was a big black burn mark on the back of my robe. McGregor thought perhaps he caught fire on something or that there'd been a spark when he removed the tape from the VCR. However, he didn't find anything. I looked at the robe again, and now I see the whole back of my robe was singed dark brown, and then this black burn mark on my shoulder blade, he said. So I freaked out. I got out of there, and I went to spend my birthday with my Uncle Dennis. When he came back, he discovered that one of his fellow students, a neighbor downstairs, had returned, so he told him what happened. His face went ashen, McGregor recalled. McGregor was then told about a man who used to occupy the neighbor's apartment. Apparently, the man was an old reclusive guy who never went out. The man's brother would reportedly bring him hot meals 2 to 3 times a week. However, there was one weekend when the brother got sick and didn't come over. The gentleman was boiling his kettle in his kitchen, and he was so hungry that he fainted, McGregor said. The kettle set fire to his kitchen, and he was burned on his back, dragged out of his house, and he died of his burns to his back. At first, McGregor thought his neighbor was just trying to scare him. To prove his point, the neighbor called the landlady, who confirmed that story. She said, but he was a very nice man. I'm sure he wouldn't wish you any harm. That's what McGregor went on to say. Still, the Star Wars celeb was totally freaked out, so he decided to leave his room and spend the night in his neighbor's apartment. Instead, when he walked in, he joked that the place was as dusty as when the old man used to live here. That's when the ceiling came down in like a wave. There was this scream like, ah, which I realized it was me, he said. During the rest of his stay in the student house, McGregor would have unexplainable experiences, like the phone mysteriously ringing or the door squeaking open on its own. I never saw him, but it was just odd, he said. And there you go. That's the story. So, yeah, burns on his back.
Well, I don't know about that. It's a creepy story, definitely. But as we're talking, movie review time real quickly, Tim and I earlier this week got to see Birds of Prey, the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn, which is kind of, I don't know if you really consider it a sequel to Suicide Squad. I mean, it is in the sense that it's still following one of the main characters, but this kind of is a standalone movie. I feel like what we just witnessed was the birth of the DC Universe's Deadpool.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
And but they did it well. I'll give them that. I enjoyed the movie. I laughed. I liked it. I thought it was well done. It is gratuitous violence. It is lots of cursing, kids. So you might be careful taking your little ones to see it. It is all about woman power. There's no doubt about that. There are some strong female presences aboard that movie. But it is definitely filled with lots of Effenheimers, lots of blood and guts, lots of violence, but it's also home to a lot of really good humor. It I think, follows the Deadpool narrative. As a matter of fact, if we don't see a teaser for the next Deadpool movie with him showing two ponytails jutting out of his Deadpool hood and carrying a baseball bat, in response, I'm going to think that Marvel is losing their touch.
Yeah.
Because it was that obvious, but it was really well done. But it does have me craving a Harley Quinn and Deadpool crossover. That would be good. I would pay good money to see that. They've taken her to a different level. So yeah, interesting. I would say out of 5 stars, I would give it a solid 4.5 stars. I enjoyed it for what it was, and the character representations. I enjoyed the movie. I don't think it was. I think it was pretty good. I'd go maybe 4 solid stars. That's where I would go on this. What do you feel?
I think we're going to disagree on this one. I'll tell you why. I think I agree with you, and Margot Robbie is very solid, and it does have good humor at times, and that Margot Robbie does carry this movie. After that, it's pretty shallow. I thought the characters were kind of empty. I didn't think that the movie had much. The plot itself is promising, and it's good. I thought everything else was kind of flat. It was typical DC. In that, I thought Margot Robbie elevated the movie to something that it wouldn't have been otherwise. With that, I will say that she does make the movie and did make it somewhat enjoyable. Well, I also think credit has to be given to Ewan McGregor as Black Mask. I thought his character was great. Dude, I loved every nuance of his character. Although I felt like many times we were watching Ewan McGregor acting as Sam Rockwell in the role of Black Mask, if that makes sense. Yeah, see, that's... He channeled Sam Rockwell very well in this movie to me. See, to me, I felt like he was trying too hard. I like that. I like the kitschy over the top. Because you know what it felt like to me is it was its answer to the Joker. It was giving me kind of a Joker-y vibe. Victor Zsasz, I also like that character. There wasn't much development in it, but I thought, yeah, that's cool. I mean, we could agree to disagree. You've been wrong before. People are used to it by now. Wow. See, I think you're going to find that you're probably being too generous, and I'm probably right in line with everyone else. I'm going to go. I'll even be generous with mine. At first, when I came out of it, I thought 2 out of 5, but I'll be generous and say 2.5. See, I backed it down from 4.5 to 4. I thought that was being more realistic because I just looked at it for what it was. Here's the deal. I never thought she was much. The character of Harley Quinn was never much more than TNA and dumb humor to me anyway in the comic books. So it's never, I think the movie stands up and actually gives her more of a character I care about. So that's why I dig this stuff. But like you said, Margot Robbie definitely carries it. But that's why it's called The Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. There's no doubt who they're hinging this movie on. And I guess she's coming back for the next Suicide Squad movie, too. Well, that's good. I mean, and she should. I mean, Suicide Squad was kind of her coming out party. This movie firmly establishes her as a character that you can franchise and build more movies on. I don't think... By any means, I don't think that this movie buries her at all. No. But she does a solid job. Not only a solid job, she does an excellent job in this movie. If not for her you would, I think you would pan this movie and throw it away. But I honestly think she carries the entire movie. She's the one shining star in this movie.
All right. Well, let's get back to it. I know we still have 5 or 6 stories to power through. So where are we off to next in the world of supernatural news?
Church that was repeatedly vandalized by Satanists who perform animal sacrifices in supernatural ceremonies. It's the one church you never want to go to every Sunday. We'll put it that way. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of how you pronounce this church's name. St. Botolph's Church in Skidbrook is said to be one of the most haunted churches in Lincolnshire. Village Church has been repeatedly vandalized by Satanists who perform animal sacrifices in supernatural ceremonies. St. Botolph's Church in Skidbrook near Louth is said to be one of the most haunted churches in Lincolnshire. The Grade 1 listed church has laid empty since the mid-'70s, but has been listed by hordes of ghost hunters, urban explorers, and locals since its closure. Its popularity came after it was proclaimed to be the center of paranormal activity, with people claiming to have seen ghostly figures, unexplained bright lights, and the sound of an approaching storm in calm weather. And in recent years, it has become a site of satanic rituals. Residents have reported seeing chicken carcasses with their throats slit, pentagrams sketched into stonework, and rings of candles and salt inside the church. The church's conservation trust said that they have spent more than £13,000 in repairs on St. Botolph's Church since 2015. Churches fall under the control of Conservation Trust when they are no longer needed for normal worship, but are too historically important to let fall into disrepair. Previous damage to the church includes its doors set on fire, bricks pulled from its walls and roof, and deliberate cracking of gravestones. The trust says there are people who still pay their respects to friends and family buried in the graveyard, and the level of vandalism is upsetting for them. But groups like the Retford Ghost Hunters, who recently investigated St. Botolph's Church, said it is unfair to suggest that groups like theirs are to blame. A Redford Ghost Hunter spokesperson said, "We always treat the area with respect, and I think it's unfair to lay the blame on us. We have been slated on social media for doing nothing but a gentle, respectful investigation, and we got some wonderful evidence. There are no signs at the site, and it is open to the public. We never go onto sites if we are aware that we aren't supposed to be there. There are so many different ghost hunting groups in the area who have been running for a while, and yet the abuse we've had has been horrendous. The trusts do not believe paranormal investigators are responsible for the vandalism, but say their videos have encouraged others to the site." Chief executive of the church's Conservation Trust, Peter Ayers, said St. Botolph's is a consecrated space, and it has been passed to the church's Conservation Trust to protect and maintain it. St. Botolph's Church is a well-loved and important landmark in the Lincolnshire landscape. It is open to the public, and the site is also an important oasis for wildlife. We encourage the wider enjoyment and appreciation of the church. While the building has sadly been mistreated in the past, we have no intention of denying public access to the vast majority who love and respect the ancient church because of the errant behavior of a few. We greatly appreciate the support of local residents in caring for the church. We would be delighted to hear from anyone who would be interested in volunteering with us to help care for our magnificent buildings. So there you go.
That's a shame people are out desecrating these places.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's truly Satan worshipers or if it's just idiot teens.
I think it's probably just teens, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a lot easier to hook it on the old Satanists, giving them that power again, huh?
That's true. Very true.
Yeah. All right. Hi, Dave. I'm a renter, not a homeowner. I live in Issaquah Highlands. I'm disabled and a government housing recipient. I can't communicate with my neighbors. They always seem angry, and there's no middle ground. I've heard rumors from my family, but I've been skeptical until I watched a coffee cup move a couple of inches on its own. I checked the surface of it to see if it was wet and the bottom of the can was dry. My wife says there's a supernatural vortex in my front yard, all night banging and shaking, shadows, walking away from my kids. I've looked and can't find much, but maybe this place is on an ancient Indian burial ground. I have 2 kids of Indian blood. I don't know if that matters. This place may be of paranormal interest to someone. I love your show. Thanks, Justin White. That's interesting, Justin. Here's the one thing I'll tell you. Unfortunately, most of the paranormal shows usually can't do apartments because the apartment complexes do not want to promote the fact that they may be haunted. So there's that. And your best bet is to just reach out to local teams. Although we know teams all over, I don't know anybody in that general vicinity, but I hope you get some help. You can also check a website called diedinhouse.com. Diedinhouse.com. Punch in the address of the building, perhaps even your apartment, and see if anybody has passed away there. Maybe that would give you some more insight. All right, Tim, where are we off to next?
Interesting story about Derek Akora's wife, Gwen, from the Mirror, saying that she had a 3-pound-a-pop psychic service despite not being clairvoyant. 71-year-old Gwen put her name to the Lake Clairvoyance phone line, selling readings for three pounds a pop, but she removed it after Sunday's Mirror probe, supposedly. The widow of most haunted TV star Derek Akora should have foreseen the disaster when she stepped into his shoes after he died. 71-year-old Gwen put her name on his phone line, selling clairvoyant readings for 3 pounds a pop, but a crystal ball would have told her it had no future. When challenged by the Sunday Mirror about her paranormal qualifications, she admitted not having a psychic bone in her body and removed her name. After Derek's death last month at 69, his website was rebranded and fans were instead invited to text Gwen for psychic readings and pay to receive them straight to your phone from her team. The website says messages from all-star psychics are always answered by genuine psychics. But the Mirror investigated after a tip that ex-Gwen was not the real deal. Posing as bereaved relative Charlotte, their reporter texted Gwen, asking her to contact her late grandmother. Within minutes, 3 messages arrived back at the cost of £1 each. One said, "I do sense a lady in spirit who is around you, dear. She wants you to know that she loves you." The site said the texts were for entertainment, and a spokesman for Gwen admitted she does not have a psychic bone in her body. He added, "It's quite clear she is not doing the reading. She didn't intend to mislead anyone. She was advised to put her name to the service in the best intentions, but it will now be removed." A previous I'm sorry. I
don't know why they're going after her for that. I mean, here's the situation. She is endorsing the site and putting her name to it because of her connection with her husband, a famous medium and psychic. So why are they begrudging her a way to make some income? She's not the one claiming to do the readings.
Right. Yeah. It's simply an endorsement of the line, which, it is what it is. I mean, I can't imagine that too many people who are subscribing to the line who are actually getting readings from the line are thinking that Gwen herself is doing the reading. So
are people going to be all upset now that I'm working alongside Urban Outfitters because I'm not really an outdoor guy?
I would,
Dave Schrader's Urban.
I would think if you would be more honest, Dave, and say it's Dave Schrader's Holiday Inn lounge set.
Yes, yeah. Or Suburban Infitters.
Right, then I would buy it because then I know it's just jammies. Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. All right, where are we off to next?
A paranormal investigator's report of a voice coming from a Fayette cemetery is unfounded, according to a state trooper. Or a trooper in general. A paranormal investigator's claim of hearing a female voice coming from beneath a pile of dirt in a Fayette County cemetery on Wednesday was unfounded, according to state police. Trooper Jonathan M. Mosier reported that he was dispatched to rural Evergreen Cemetery on Morgantown Road in Spring Hill Township just before 10 a.m. by the unnamed paranormal investigator who called 911 claiming he heard a female's voice screaming, "Help, help, I'm buried alive." Well, that may be slightly creepy.
Slightly?
Yeah, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
Might be a little unnerving. Dispatchers told Mosier the unnamed investigator said the voice came from within a pile of dirt that was inside a shed at the cemetery. Prior to the arrival of troopers, the man reportedly purchased a shovel and began digging in the vicinity of the shed where he had supposedly heard the female screaming. No female was located, and troopers cleared the scene and continued patrolling Fayette County. The brief incident report concluded. State police said no other information was available. I don't know, Dave. Do you start digging if you hear the voice, help, help? I'm buried alive?
I don't know. I first of all, I would be in the cemetery. Second of all, I don't carry a shovel with me. Thirdly, I'd leave that to the experts. But could you imagine how unnerving that would be to be there and hear cries from underground?
You know, I mean, first of all, it is very unnerving, but
Right.
you almost have to, everything you know as an investigator, you would almost have to stop for a moment and think,
Right.
is what I'm hearing an actual voice or is it a trick?
Here's something else that I've been thinking about lately.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just got done filming our first episode of season 2 for the Holzer Files.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't give anything away, but it was really, it was chilling, right? And I had some very unusual experiences, thankfully nothing violent, but and then kind of researching aspects of the location, I wonder, you know, isn't it the Jewish faith like you're supposed to be buried within like a day of your death?
I'm not quite sure.
Like you die and you get buried the next day or something. I think it's a quick turnaround. But I'm starting to wonder if there's a certain time that your soul is connected to the body. And if it's buried too quickly, and there's, let's say, high levels of granite, quartz, limestone, could that work as a magnet keeping part of the soul there? So if the soul has not fully disassociated with the physical form by the time it's buried, could that be why the souls are at the cemetery, that they're kind of trapped by the surrounding minerals and elements?
That's a scary thought.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. I don't know. Culture-wise, if you people know, and by you people, I mean all of you people from different cultures, belief systems, religions, I'd love to know. Email me, dave@darknessradio.com. What is your belief system? You know, how long is the soul with the body, or is it immediately released upon death? I mean, they don't even know what the firm countenance of death is, Tim. Science is still saying, you know, hey, well, maybe the brain is still alive for a couple hours after the heart stops. You know, there's been cases where that one doctor just kept feeling pulled back into. Remember, he kept feeling pulled back into the room, even though he had officially proclaimed her dead like 45 minutes or an hour earlier, and then went back and was able to revive her with no incident.
I seem to have remembered reading an article that the brain was active, 4 to 6 hours after... Was it 4 to 6 hours after death had been called?
Yeah, something like that. I know there's so many different articles. You know, death is like raising a baby. Mm-hmm. Right? Hear me out on this. Because every year, well, don't put babies on their tummies to sleep. Oh, don't put babies on their sides to sleep. Oh, don't put babies on their backs to sleep. Oh, don't put blankets in there. Don't do this. Don't do that. But it seems to change every few years on what we think the understanding of what's safe for babies, right?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Trying to get SIDS under control. But I don't know. I don't know that we really have any kind of understanding. But what do you think about if we bury our loved ones too soon? Is there a chance that soul is still with the body? I don't know. All right, that's your brain teaser for this week, kids. All right, where are we going next in the world of supernatural news, Tim? Now that I've effectually screwed everybody's brain up for the day, and they'll be thinking about that.
There you go, yeah. Whispers Estate in Indiana is where we're going. It's for sale for $130,000, and, Dave, you get ghosts with it. So
that's not a bad deal, actually.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good, especially for real estate. Known as Whispers Estate, the home has a history of paranormal activity. It's listed for $130,000, and you get ghosts with the deal. I say it's sold. It's a Victorian mansion dating back to the late 1890s. It's for sale. There's a catch, however. It may come with some permanent house guests. It's actually a gorgeous home. It's in really good shape for as old as it is, according to Heather Bland, who is the agent selling the home on Warren Street in Mitchell, Indiana. Of course, Heather Bland is going to say that. She's the agent selling the home. Just saying, she's making a commission. Known as Whispers Estate, the home has a history of paranormal activity. The $130,000 listing price includes the furniture and the ghosts. Oh, so it's fully furnished. It just keeps getting better and better, Dave.
Yeah, it does. What are you waiting for, Tim? This is your big chance.
It's in Indiana. There's nothing in Indiana.
There's the Whispers Estate, Tim.
Oh. The 3,700 square foot 4-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom home features original wood floors throughout much of the home. Well, that's nice. According to the website created by the homeowner, the structure was once part home, part business, as was the case with many homes in the 1800s. A doctor had his practice downstairs, and over the years, some patients died, Dave, including children. Oh. The doctor himself died of pneumonia in the first floor master bedroom, so you can't sleep there. Just saying. Several TV shows, publications, and paranormal groups have investigated the home. There have been numerous reports of a child seen running through the house, the smell of baby powder in one of the rooms, children singing or crying, doorknobs jiggling, and doors popping open. So you don't get any privacy.
That's all right. Still a good price. $130K.
This house
sounds really cheap.
This house is perfect for you. There's no privacy. You're not used to privacy, Dave. It's perfect.
Yeah, who needs privacy?
Yeah.
Privacy's overrated.
People who sleep in the room where the doctor died said they sometimes wake up to sounds of coughing and labored breathing. Oh, so it's the wheezy house. I've been in there twice and haven't felt anything so far, but you can read different things about it, and you might not feel anything or see anything for a long time, and then maybe you do, Bland went on to say, adding that her boss felt and saw something paranormal when they were measuring the home. He had a look on his face, and I said, "What?" And he said, "Did you see that?" And I said, "No," Bland recalls. We were measuring, and I said, "Did you?" And he said, "Yeah." And I was like, "Okay, let's get this measured then and get out of here." Oh, she's real nice, real empathetic. The paranormal inhabitants don't seem to cause much trouble, Bland said. The owner said in his experience, if people are there and they're respectful and not trying to cause a ruckus or anything, the alleged paranormal are nice. Oh, that's nice. The current owner bought the home in 2007 after visiting it during a paranormal convention. He's selling it now because he is engaged and moving to Indianapolis, about 2 hours north of Mitchell. As for tours of the place, we're doing a 24-hour notice before a showing and a pre-approval because we want to weed out people. We don't want to just have people who say, let's go look at it, it'll be cool. We want people to be serious that are looking at it, and for whatever reason they want to buy it, that's their personal preference, Bland explains. The home sits on a 1/4 acre. There's a formal entry, 10-foot ceilings, a living room, dining room, stone basement, unfinished space on the 3rd floor. The furnishings include antiques. Bland says the perfect buyer is out there somewhere. It's going to take one of two types of people. I think it's going to take somebody that loves this and appreciates the paranormal stuff, or if somebody just wants it to be their home. It's a huge, gorgeous home for $130,000. I mean, you couldn't build it for that, Bland went on to say. So
that's true. But I wonder if it's zoned. Is it zoned so that it can't be a bed and breakfast? Is it zoned that they can't run a business out of it? Because I would think that buying it and turning it into a paranormal investigation spot,
well,
you should make back your 130.
At one time, it was a doctor's office. So at one time, it was zoned for business. But I don't know that it still is.
Yeah, and the town may not want. See, I think this is what happens with Amityville. Everybody's like, well, why don't you buy Amityville? And just because I think, if I recall correctly from the people that have spoken to the realtors, when you buy the house, you have to agree that you're not going to allow filming there. You're not going to turn it into a bed and breakfast. You're not going to do anything commercial with it that would that would bring more attention to the area.
Yeah, you'd have to check with the realtor and see if it's zoned that way or if you could zone it that way.
Just something. Yeah, very weird. All right, where are we going next, sir?
Well, we got 2 stories left. In this first one, Cornish ghost whispers film a ghost dog. Here, rover. A mother... Aw, see? Mm-hmm. Do you use Ghost Elpo to catch a ghost dog?
God, no, not Elpo.
No.
Elpo's horrible.
It is, yeah. But
yeah.
I'm just saying, they don't care. They're ghosts.
Can I do a commercial for something?
Sure.
Tim, if you don't mind. Yeah. Speaking of which, I've got to be honest with you. Listen, I am a shill. I get no pay for what I'm about to tell you. But Gentle Giant's dog food. Mm-hmm. My dog loves this. And it comes from Gentle Giant's Rescue and Adoptions, which is run by, of all people, Burt Ward from Batman and Robin fame from the 1966 Batman series. He and his wife have helped rescue thousands of dogs, and they were looking for the right blend, and they actually created this dog food, GentleGiantsDogFood.com. Go check it out for yourself. My dog loves it. And he has dogs that are living abnormally long lifespans. And he's making these claims, and I'm not seeing anybody breaking him down about it. You know, people always love to poo-poo that stuff, Tim. Poo-poo, I say.
Oh, poo-poo, yeah.
Right, but it's world-class canine nutrition dog and puppy food. Quality of life feast for meat lovers with real beef and real bacon, 100% poultry-free, non-GMO ingredients. It's all healthy. It's all good for your dog. You can purchase at Walmart.com. You can purchase online at Gentle Giant's Dog Food. The reason I throw this out there is because I believe that, many of our listeners love their animals as much as I love mine. Mm-hmm. And Gentle Giants is really good, and it is so healthy for your animals. And again, have 6-10 years with your animal. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. How crazy is that? You have to go to his site and you'll read it. I mean, he tells videos. He's got dogs that are like 25, 27, 28 years old because they've been eating this food.
Wow.
Yeah. Why not keep, your fur friends around just a little bit longer? GentleGiantsDogFood.com. That's what I would try to bribe the ghost dog out with, Tim.
Oh, okay. Well, let's do that then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. This segment was not brought to you by Gentle Giant's Dog Food. It was brought to you by Darkness Dave, wanting to share that information with you, our audience, because I care.
All right. Well, I'll change my tune then. We'll use a little Gentle Giants, and we'll bring this ghost dog out. There you go. A mother and daughter paranormal investigation team from Falmouth one or the other, is attracting a big following after an encounter with a ghost dog. Candy Collins and her mother, Suzanne, have had a passion for all things paranormal for many years, but after they captured the image of what appears to be a dog at Kennel Vale Nature Reserve, their popularity has soared. Candy, who lives just off of Trescobies Road, said, "We did our first Facebook Live event a couple of weeks ago, and it was actually one of our followers that pointed out the dog. It's so exciting because people can come on a journey with us. It's something people can relate to and get involved in." On a Friday evening in mid-January, they visited the Ponzanuth Beauty Spot around 7 p.m., and the video clearly shows a four-legged dog-like shape moving away from the camera. Since the images of the dog were aired, they have more than 4,000 followers of their Cornish Ghost Whisperers Facebook page. The full version of the video, around 15 minutes at normal speed, is available on their page. Although the pair enjoys brushes with the other side, they take no chances before they head out. You have to embrace it. You have to be alert. We always say prayers before we go, and we wear protective necklaces when we go out, said Suzanne, who lives in Buddock. She has experienced activity from a young age, including children's voices in her kitchen when there was nobody there, something trying to get out of a wardrobe, and people running up and down her stairs. During their trips, they use a trigger object sensor, which lights up when paranormal activity is detected. They also carry a ghost box and a magnetic field magnet. We're looking for lost people and trying to show them the light so they can go back home safely, she added. The ghost dog excursion is one of several trips in the area, which has yielded spooky results. Candy said, we went to Penmere Station after a man told us he was on his way home when he saw two Victorian children beckoning him to go down the track. Oh, that could be a black-eyed kid. I wouldn't go. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we went up there, the trigger sensor went off and our shoulders were burning hot. On another occasion, when they were at St. Cluvius Church, there was a transparent gray object floating up and down something through the trigger sensor, which hit Suzanne after she had placed it down. They also visited the oldest pub in South Wales and heard children in a confined cell inviting them to come and play in the background. Again, black-eyed kids, Dave. They're just playing with the devil.
We want to play with you.
No, thank you. Candy and her mom have since conducted another Facebook Live recording at Kennel Vale and are planning more in the future. So there you go. So they're
very cool. They're
playing with black-eyed kids and dogs. There you go.
Huh.
Yeah.
Black-eyed kids and dogs.
Yeah.
So you heard my dog bark, right?
Yep.
Pretty good dog bark, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm at, this is my brush with fame.
Oh, okay.
Tim.
Yeah.
This comes to us courtesy of roughly 25 years ago.
Okay.
I'm at Disney with Cliff, my oldest boy. He's very little. We're sitting there at a little cafe, outdoor cafe at Disney in Florida. Mm-hmm. There is a like honky tonk rinky dink piano next to us, and all of a sudden Goofy and Mickey and Donald come walking up, and they've got somebody in between them along with some security. The guy sits down at the piano and starts do 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 do, and he breaks into a big laugh and then turns sideways, and it's Billy Joel. I'm literally sitting like 4 feet away from Billy Joel.
Wow.
And I go, whoa, Billy Joel. And because kids know two voices, loud and louder, Cliff eloquently yells out, Billy Joe. Who's Billy Joe? And Billy Joel stops playing piano and just turns and looks back at our table. And Cliff has got this quizzical look on his face, right? And I go, Billy Joel, buddy. Remember that song River of Dreams we were singing when we pulled into the parking lot that you love so much? Yeah. I go, he's the one that sings it. Oh, that was pretty much it, right? Mm-hmm. So then we get up, we're walking around, we go into a gift shop. Lo and behold, standing in front of me, Christy Brinkley. She has one of those dog leashes, you know, the invisible dog leashes. Mm-hmm. It's, you know, a leash with the little harness and it's bent so it looks like you have a dog that's invisible, right? Mm-hmm. And she's chasing Alexa Ray, their daughter, around with it, going, Alexa, woof, 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 I'm going to get you. And I walk up behind her and I go, right? And and my throat's kind of out of it, but I can do a pretty good dog, right? Mm-hmm. I do this. She turns around, she looks at me and her eyes get huge and she goes, my God, did you do that? That was really good. Without missing a beat, I kind of give that false mock of confidence look to her and I kind of roll my eyes. I go, well, you know, some people are supermodels. Some people can bark like a dog. We all have our skills, Miss Brinkley. And she bursts out laughing. So that was my one moment in the sun with Christy Brinkley.
Aw.
Yeah. Just thought I'd share that with you.
That's
Speaking of sharing, I do have another story I wanted to share real quickly. Mm-hmm. Again, it's going to sound like an endorsement because it is, but we don't get paid for this, Tim.
Okay.
I got an email. I wanted to thank you from the bottom of my broken heart. Michael Perry was amazing. He brought back hope and light into my world. Not only did he contact my mom and many of my friends, he brought the love of my life, my little doggy Doobie. Doobie kept talking about what Michael thought was New York. Michael couldn't figure out why if I hadn't been there with Doobie. He was so insistent and kept saying it. Finally, Michael asked, have you gotten a new dog? I said, yes. He asked what kind, at which point it all came together. I have a New Yorkie puppy.
Aww.
We both laughed. I'm still smiling about this. Anyhow, thank you, Dave. You made it possible for me to see a light at the end of this tunnel. It's literally saved my life. Much love to you. And that comes from Mary. I don't want to give any more info because I don't know how much she's looking for. But I get emails all the time. People are like, Dave, I really need to contact somebody. I need a very good medium. And I'm going to be honest, the first I always throw them is Michael and Marty Perry. Mm-hmm. And we know other great mediums, Mark Anthony, Chris Fleming, Cindy Kaza. But so many of them are out filming and on the road. They don't always have the time to do the readings. Michael and Marty Perry do readings every day, and they can do them from anywhere in the world. They can do them by Skype or just by phone. They can do them in person. And I always recommend them. And I always get emails back from people that I suggest. Spiritart.com, spiritart.com, folks, if you are looking for a really amazing reading. To try to connect with the other side. I've got to say, we've known them now for 13 years. I've recommended probably hundreds of people to them. I've never had anybody come back to me and say they sucked. That wasn't worth my time or money. I've never had one, Tim.
No, not one.
That tells you just how good they are. So, if you're looking for somebody, folks, check it out and definitely sign up with them. They're really amazing at what they're able to do. Okay, we have one more news story. Tim, where are we going for our final story?
All right, you're going to wind me up. This is it. This is how we're going to end today.
Doom, doom, doom. Doom, 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 doom. Yeah, I'm listening.
Dave, AI is the bane of our existence.
Well, yours maybe.
Everybody's, Dave. Everybody.
Need to remind you, there are mechanical sex dolls now, Tim. That's all I'm saying.
So once they screw us, we can screw them back?
Wow. Again. All right.
Here's the deal, Dave. I saw a story last night on the news.
Okay.
Do you know now that AI is putting Swiss watchmakers and watchmakers in general out of business? Do you know that the Apple Watch outsold even Swiss watchmakers this past year? The Apple Watch was the highest selling watch last year.
Interesting.
The Apple Watch.
The Apple Watch, you say?
AI has taken over your wrist.
Okay.
Just saying, keep that in mind as I read this next story.
I don't have an Apple Watch, so it hasn't taken over my wrist. My Google Watch sits there proudly. No Apple on me, buddy, so I'm safe.
That's still AI, Dave.
Doom, 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 doom. Doom, 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 doom. You know what I just realized. Do you know what that rhythm sounds like, Tim?
What's that?
Doom, 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 doom. It sounds like heartbeat. That's what it sounds like. Yeah.
Only in your head, my friend.
So the reason this has happened is because of Donald Johnson. Donald Johnson.
Donald
that sounds very
Johnson.
Yeah.
Just Christian
that doesn't
name.
sound like a rock and roller or the star of Miami Vice. Would you have checked out Donald Johnson? His album? Probably not. Don Johnson. Boom. No. Million seller. Heartbeat.
Mm-hmm. Dave, AI will trick you into anything. AI will trick you into thinking you need it. AI will trick you into thinking you're hungry. AI will trick you into thinking that you need to buy things. AI will trick you into thinking that you need it to breathe. AI will trick you into thinking that aliens exist.
Well, say what now?
Yeah. AI will trick you into thinking that aliens exist.
Say what now?
Artificial intelligence can fool us into believing that aliens exist.
Okay. Let's hear more.
That's what I have in front of me right now. I have an article in front of me that says AI can trick humans into believing that aliens exist. And I don't doubt it.
Okay.
It says here, artificial intelligence can fool us into believing we have discovered potential aliens. This, analysts have cautioned. Indeed, even PCs could be inclined to recognizing shapes as proof of extraterrestrial civilizations. This, another investigation has found. That's right, folks. That's right. I'm just saying. And people could then be deluded into accepting that they are genuine. Deluded. That's the key word here. Deluded. You okay, buddy?
Hallucinating. Tim needs help. Send help. Tim's out of his mind. I'm sorry, buddy. These aren't tickle in my throat.
These aren't my words. These aren't my words.
But it's your emotion. I can feel it bleeding through.
These are the words of one Rebecca Benton, Dave. Rebecca Benton. Artificial intelligence is one of the achievement advances in the quest for extraterrestrial knowledge, being utilized to figure out immense measures of picture with expectations of spotting technosignatures of signs of alien life. What are we scanning the universe with, Dave, in order to find these alien technosignatures?
Giant telescopes?
That are run by what, Dave?
Giant telescope operators?
We don't man them 24 hours a day with human life.
Maybe you don't.
We man them with artificial intelligence, with programs, Dave. Programs.
Are you sure?
That are run on algorithms.
Are you sure it's not the Canadians trying to take our jobs, Tim?
No, they're not taking our jobs at this. They're too busy getting drunk on Molson and watching hockey.
Ooh, you can send that hate mail right to tim@darknessradio.com as soon as you sober up.
The fact of the matter is we need sober algorithms of artificial intelligence scanning the universe to look for these algorithms that could be faked by AI to look for fake aliens to make us think that aliens exist when they don't. That's what Rebecca Benton is saying right here, Dave, in this article. She says that they're being utilized to figure out immense measure of pictures with expectations of spotting technosignatures or signs of alien life. In any case, she says, the new disclosure recommends that individuals could be get amped up for potential revelations spotted by AI. She's not good at English.
Well, see, that's why we need AI, because, you can't trust humans. Look at how badly they write.
But I get her message. I'm picking up what she's putting down here, Dave. She says, just to find that they are really useless coincidental arrangements on other planets. Useless coincidental arrangements. The research made use of a specific arrangement on the diminutive person planet Sirius, which energized outsider trackers when it was first found. The little world, which sits in the space rock belt among Mars and Jupiter, was the subject of furious theory when stargazers spotted brilliant lights sparkling on its surface. They were in the end let down when NASA's dawn crucial close enough to the smaller person planet to find that the lights were really the consequence of volcanic ice and salt emissions. In other words, AI got it wrong. They tried to trick us to think it was aliens. And you know what it was, Dave? Volcanic ice and salt emissions.
So AI is fallible like humanity. That's okay. That should make you feel better, Tim. They might look at you and figure you're not a threat and not shoot you. They may think that you're a plume of salt.
Or, Dave, they could turn around, look at me and go, very fat alien, bang, bang, and shoot me in the head.
Wow. Not just fat alien. You think AI is going to call you a very fat alien.
Yeah. They could think
work on that self-love, buddy.
No, Dave. AI is very mean.
Is it?
It's very
Is AI
mean.
kind of a bully?
They are fat shamers. I don't know if you've...
I don't know.
I don't know if you've ever run into AI before. They're fat shamers.
I don't even run into much I on this planet, to be honest with you.
So this is why, folks.
Artificial or otherwise.
Take your Apple Watches, go to the nearest high bridge where there's a river running right through it. Just chuck that sucker off the bridge. Let it drown. Let it drown.
You know why? Because I got me for Christmas. I got one of the magnets for fishing on the rope that can lift up to like 480 pounds. So throw your shit over a bridge so Darkness Dave can find it. And,
no, you don't
bring
want
back
it.
You don't bring back new antiques.
No, you don't want it because it's. I'm telling you, if we don't drown this stuff soon, it's all gonna like Voltron. It's all gonna come together in one big, massive robot and destroy us all.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What a world you must live in.
I'm just saying.
Your mind is so dark and sad.
No.
Yeah.
No.
for a very big fat alien, you've got a problem.
I'm not a big fat alien.
Tim,
That's
if
what
AI said so.
No,
I can't question AI. It's much more intelligent than I am. Lots of data.
You
saw Johnny 5 is alive, Tim. He needs more data, more input.
You can't trust him. You just can't.
We'll see. Well, that's it, folks. We appreciate you being a part of the show. We want to hear more of your phone calls. 651-300-4977. Leave up to a 3-minute story. If it's longer than 3 minutes, just hang up, call right back, go right back into the story. Tim will stitch the recordings together into one cohesive tale of supernatural terror. You can share your scary stories, funny stories, heartwarming stories, loving stories, dream visitations, Ouija board stories, demonic angels, ghosts, aliens. Maybe you had a date with a Bigfoot on Timber. See what I did there, Tim? Because he lives in the woods. Yeah. So, if you want to, give us a call, 651-300-4977. Keep sending in your emails to us, dave@darknessradio.com with your stories. And we'll be back Tuesday with another brand new edition of True Crime Tuesday. You can keep checking that out. If you haven't already checked out our true crime shows, you should. They're damn good. And remember, we will be bringing you Darkness Radio here all throughout the month of February, right here on our YouTube page. And beginning in March, we will roll over to Midroll, our new home for the best in paranormal talk radio. I'm Dave, that's Tim, and this is Darkness Radio.